right, welcome back, and the discussion continues. Well, Philip, before we went to a break, you giving us some very important aspects and statistics for that matter, as far as trying to break the gap of unemployment is concerned. And one of the key aspects, according to the findings that was released by World Bank Enterprise Survey, that indicates over 25% of formal firms in sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya included, reckon that inadequacy in education among workforce was a major impediment to recruitment. Don't you think it's about time maybe we consider now the discussion now to actually taking the discussion to the higher learning institution, as far as in terms of meeting the labor demand and how best we can actually produce a workforce that can actually be depended on as far as the job and the output that the market demand is required. Do you think it's about time we have this discussion?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I hold the thought that this should have been work in progress, should have been done long way back. Looking at some of the programs we've had, I would say in Kenya, as soon as the president got into power, one of the things that he did was to form a task force that looked into the CBC in totality and gave him a report on the implementation. The question was whether to continue the same or continue the current curriculum or adopt CBC. Mm-hmm. And they gave a nod that it was time to take another route, which is the CBC. It is time that we must have a higher education or TVET's task force that is going to look at the quality of our training, mm-hmm. the nature of our curriculum, and if at all that training is geared towards skilling young people for the industry. Mm-hmm. I would say that AI, artificial intelligence, has come into this space and has taken everybody by storm. Mm-hmm. We have major conferences across the world talking about AI. In Britain just the other day, and I know the East African community had one in July in Kigali. Mm-hmm. We are focusing on adoption of AI mm-hmm. and the threats of AI. One of them being taking away or sweeping away jobs mm-hmm. that we so honestly want to create for young people. But are we talking about retooling and re-equipping our young people, reforming our curricula so that they respond to the exact very needs that AI is coming in to address? Mm-hmm. So before we take the shift and embrace AI mm-hmm. and play the tune of AI, let us look at the human resource needs of the East African community, the mm-hmm. African continent, and let us look at that in relation to mm-hmm. young people seeking opportunity mm-hmm. and their mode of training.
All right.
Out of school youth employment initiatives are becoming even more effective in terms mm-hmm. of mentorship, in terms of leadership development, mm-hmm. in terms of giving essential services, essential skills mm-hmm. Training to young people than higher education and TVET education.
Even as, we talk about the artificial intelligence, mm-hmm. and even the whole discussion of, producing a workforce that can actually meet the labor demand. Mm-hmm. And there is another very important aspect that we really need to take into consideration as far as this discussion is concerned. I'm talking about the spaces available out there, the tech space. Mm-hmm. How can young people actually tap into these existing spaces to actually create employment for themselves? And this is now raised the question of, are we creating, or rather, are we producing a job seeker or creating a job, innovators, as far as this discussion is concerned? Because at the end of the day, if you have to face reality, let's face it, the number of available job opportunities versus the number of job seekers is significantly, the disparity is quite enormous. And we have now, it's about time now we have this discussion of now empowering now the job seekers to be actually the job creators.
Well, we have now in this country a ministry for digital economy, which emphasizes the creation of the digital pathway that then facilitates remote working, remote jobs, online opportunities, and digital and tech skills. One thing that I must demystify is that innovation is not tech and tech is not innovation. Anyone can work online so long as they have the requisite tools. They have a laptop, a phone, a desktop, any other thing that they could use to collaborate online. Secondly, the US President Joe Biden says internet is infrastructure. If we have a deeper penetration of fast speed internet, then we are facilitating the digital economy, the tech space. We have emergence of many innovation hubs. Some of them initially were purely tech hubs. Now we have more liberal hubs that are offering more other alternatives in the agri space, in the creative space, in the green economy, and the conservation space. These spaces must be internet enabled, and they must be facilitated with the requisite infrastructure to be able to provide those skills, firstly, and secondly, the opportunities devolved to the grassroots and spaces where young people can access them. And I dare say that Jira Digital has tried to do that over the past period, since established by the Uhuru Kenyatta government. I know that the current government is trying to take that forward. But what alternatives are we giving? What facilitation are we giving, for example, to the already established hubs, and they have associations? Many more coming up, so that we talk about the digital economy, but the digital economy in reality by facilitating existing infrastructure and spaces where action is ongoing.
All right. Well, you have actually raised a very important question. So what are some of the alternatives available out there? And even as we wind up this particular conversation, so what is the way forward as far as, now slaying this dragon? Because it's a topic that if something is not done, we'll keep on having this discussion over and over again. So what is the way forward, even as we wind up on this discussion?
Number one is that governments across Africa, across the East African community, and in our country, Kenya, must be deliberate in solving the youth employment crisis. Secondly, is that all of us collectively, all stakeholders, development partners, non-government organizations, grassroots initiatives, must all converge together and be ready to take action. The third is that young people must be thoroughly creative and innovative and jump out of your comfort zones. We must go out there and seek alternatives where they exist. The fourth, and which we largely talk about, is that we have a deeper penetration of mobile phones. We have a deeper penetration of internet and fast speed in many spaces. Young people must take advantage of this infrastructure and fend for themselves online. The amount of time we take on social media, on TikTok, on Facebook, on social spaces is just the amount of time we need to create and collaborate in online work and remote work, so that we, without spending or dwelling more on what government can provide, what traditionally is available, then we can seek alternatives and find really alternatives that then make sense to us, that could feed our communities.
All right. Well, Philip Pande, thank you so much for making time.
I really appreciate. We are most grateful to KUTV for this moment. We can't fail to welcome the entire stakeholder delegates from across East Africa to join us on the 22nd and 23rd at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa for the first ever East African Employability Summit.
All right, well, thank you. Well, that's all we had as far as this particular discussion